Hi all, welcome to Public Cloud Design Tips and Tricks. Today's topic is AWS SQS and AWS SNS. What are the problem statements? The problem statements are how to decouple multiple services in a distributed architecture, how to achieve an effective synchronous mechanism in your solution. And the solutions are Service Bus from Microsoft Azure, Amazon Simple Queue Service and Simple Notification Service from AWS, pops up from Google Cloud. What is a message queue and why it is required? In a modern architecture, applications or services are decomposed into smaller building blocks called microservices. Microservices are easier to develop, maintain, and deploy. They are distributed in nature and they are either heterogeneous or homogeneous in nature. So, the decoupled components always require intercommunications, and message queues are software components used for that inter-process communication. It is best for asynchronous communications, and this is a buffer to store information between a producer and a consumer. What is SQS? Amazon Simple Queue Service is a fully managed message queuing service from AWS. SQS eliminates the overhead of queue management, the provisioning of container to run the queue, and the overhead of scaling and replication of queues and messages. And this is used to send and receive message or information. Types of SQS are standard queues and FIFO queues. Standard queues support a nearly unlimited number of transactions per second (TPS). It guarantees at least once delivery. A message is delivered at least once. Sometimes more than one copy gets delivered. It is random in nature in terms of ordering. Messages get delivered in any order sometimes. So for example, there are 5 messages in a queue. So when it gets delivered, it can follow a pattern like 4, 3, 3, 5, 2, 1. What is FIFO queue? FIFO is first in, first out. High throughput. By default, FIFO queues support up to 300 messages per second, 300 send, 300 receive, or 300 delete operations per second. Exactly once processing. What it means? A message is delivered once and remains available until a consumer processes and deletes it. Duplicates are not allowed here. First in, first out delivery. The order in which messages are sent and received is strictly preserved. That is first in, first out. So in the same example, if it is FIFO queue, it always follow a model like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. What are SQS functionalities? Scaling. It can create unlimited queues with unlimited messages. Batches. Send, receives or delete messages in batches up to 10 messages or 256 KB of size. That brings always the cost effectiveness. What is the payload size? Message payloads can go up to 256 KB. The retention can be up to 14 days. You can store a message till 14 days. Why it is effective? Because it sends and reads messages in parallel. It can do parallel processing. Message locking, what is this? While processing a message, it gets locked and cannot be used by any other consumer. Server-side encryption capability provides security of the contents of messages in a queue by using techniques like AWS KMS. Dead letter queues. Messages that have not been successfully processed by a consumer always go to dead letter queues for further processing and analysis. Now, what is SNS? Simple Notification Service is a fully managed publish subscribe messaging service for both application to application and application to person communication. So there are two types of functionality, A2A and A2P. A2A is application to application, A2P is application to person. So what is A2A? A2A functionality provides topics of high transactions. It is a push-based mechanism and many-to-many messaging between distributed systems or services. The A2P functionality enables the service to send messages to users using SMS, mobile push notification, and email services. Now, what are the functionality of SNS? Message filtering. It deals with sending messages to selected subscriber instead of every subscriber. What is message fan-out? When a message is sent to a topic and then replicated and pushed to multiple endpoints, that is message fan-out. What is message durability? It provides a message durability if not delivered by using techniques like retry policy, dead letter queue, or further streaming to a persistent storage using CANSYS. What is message encryption? It guarantees the security of message in the topics. And what is message privacy? It ensures messages flow through private network using VPC endpoint instead of public network using VPC endpoint. So these are the functionalities of SNS. If you want to deep dive more into SQS and SNS, please follow these links from AWS website. Thank you and have a good day.